Yo, yo, it's ODB. This is OLP. This is Mini Truckin Magazine, issue 105. And when we look here, we see it's September 2000. This is a 90 Mazda B2600i. Of course, it's the green color with the graphics. That's what I always remember. Kutomz was involved. You will see, I'll point out some of the decals that may have been removed on the cover like we've seen up till this point. It actually looks really good without the decals in this photo, in my opinion. Now, this was Lane Hoffarth's, Hoffarth. That was his truck. They called it the Wild Hair. It was Lance's 8th credited cover. And if you wait till the end, I'll talk about how many cover trucks had Ultra wheels on it. So stick with me. If you can watch till the end, it helps our channel out a lot. This was the 8th NC vehicle to be featured on the cover. What a truck. Paint, door panels, tweed, big wheels, sliding ragtop, billet mirrors. Alex Anderson, I think at Brand X, had made those. Rest in peace. I do believe the truck was shot at Rezo 2000, and we'll talk about that. But let's jump into the issue. Again, if you have any intel or, where it was featured directly, let me know and I'll update. I appreciate some of the guys that recently commented. Some of the trucks I always get mixed up in my head are like Alter Ego, Twisted Metal, and some of those. So thanks again. It's a group effort. Really appreciate it. Ironically enough, Local Minis, they announced this past weekend, by the time you see this, more than likely, that they are back. I don't know that they ever left, but they were very dormant, I think is the best way I could explain it, in my opinion, for a long time. Some of the club members had moved on. Some are old school, going to be back, but we will see. Here's All in the Family. So Lance's editorial, which this was not common where the editorial would spill over to the second page. You obviously have a nice insert photo here, kind of a different angle than you would see at that time. And you can see Subculture logo here. Shout out to Subculture and Lance and Charles and all the crew from the club. We, of course, last year featured Time Machine. I'm actually wearing my shirt now, which was Charles Armstrong's famous Toyota. It had debuted 20 years prior at Mini Nats. So, of course, we had to line that up and make it happen. Rest in peace, Shaun Carlson. This was a call out here talking about when he had left for Turbo, and then how that kind of folded under back in the brand, and new forms and a couple of the things that he had done elsewhere. I had sent this to Trevor, his brother, and Trevor announced that they had moved. So I might get a chance to see them. We'll talk about that more in the future. But again, rest in peace to the great Shaun Carlson. Here's Oh Snap. So Mike Self and Lance had shot this one. Something a little bit different. That's the vibe that they were bringing to this magazine. Putting their spin, doing different things. Not saying that something wasn't featured similar to this. The other thing that you'll see is first ever MT Euro Worldwide Customs, or Custom. The other thing that I always, in my mind, think of with Lance is that, how he helped bring a lot of features from other countries. Truckin, I've said in the past, they were kind of swapping features with different, countries and things like that. But Mini Truckin, it's kind of the first time we started to see trucks being featured from other countries. The Phantom of the Astro. So a good tech article there. If you like what we're doing here, certainly subscribe. I appreciate that. And watch all the way through if you can. Here's Mother's Pearl. And again, these Rangers tend to... I can't rattle these things off in terms of which one became this and that. I want to say this got redone. Or maybe this was the redone version and it appeared in Sport Truck. But you guys would have to keep me honest on that, or if that was a truck that was redone. Kind of going through here, some of these are coming in at the 20 mark. Some are a little longer, but, trying to keep them fresh. Innovative techniques, lost but not forgotten. So a super clean Blazer, as I mentioned. These Blazers, I don't think got enough love. The two doors. This one was pretty cool. It was kind of the same interior, which this one was a little bit higher end than in my S10. but you can see how they just did the glove box. Kind of a rare center console that you don't see very often. It looks like the Vegas are pumping there with the Sherwin Vegas. Certainly, if you pull some screen grabs from here, we always appreciate if you tag us on Instagram. Thanks to the guys that do that. So my truck was body dropped late 99 into 2000. We literally drove it to this show. And this was Blood Drive 2000. Matt had finished it up in January, I want to say. And then this was February 13th of 2000. So literally almost 23 years to the day, 6 days away at the time of this recording. This was a local guy here. Dale, I think his name was. Exhibit Auto Interiors. He had did some stuff for, I think, Schulman early on. Dave Porter, I think, was his name. My S10 was parked, I want to say, right over here in this line, I think. Or maybe it was this row over here, but I think it was right over here. A lot of trucks that, you know, we grew up seeing a lot. Of course, the Hombres, there weren't a lot of those. I mentioned the orange one recently. Tilt beds on the rise. This thing was pretty insane. This technically was, I think it was technically the second year. And, yeah, second annual. This was the first year that we went. It was at a local college. Of course, it grew and it came back, and I think he has since, you know, expanded it where it's different. You know, it was, for a while, it was down south, and it went to North Florida. Then I think it was like southern Georgia. And then I think he moved to the west, and then he's back on the east, and it was in Ocala. Then it didn't happen this year, and then it, last year I think there was one in down south, and then someone had told me this week that it's going to be in Georgia. So it's a show that's been around basically since 99 is how I'll sum it up. And again, got to drive my truck to that show. Matt Torgerson, shout out to Matt. Matt will remember a couple crazy stories. I was a little wild back then, and we drove to that show with the topper. May have had a little bit of carbon monoxide poisoning, maybe. But we got there safe and sound. Here's the 10th annual Florida State Championships. Of course, I don't remember when this show ended, but what you have here is Jimmy Graham. So this was the truck that would go on to be featured March, early 2000s on the cover of Street Trucks. I think it was March. Let's get that mixed up. Here's the Nissan Hardbody that we've talked about. Speaking of local minis, there's the local minis, Ford, Shannon's, Chuck Dog. Shout out to Chuck, he's been watching. And then the Isuzu that we recently saw with the Budnick on the cover, or on the windshield. You can see awards have changed dramatically over the years. That's one of the cool things about our truck scene, I think, is the awards are pretty amazing. You'll even see in the high-end hot rod show stuff, you know, the awards are just little plaques. And not that we do it for awards, but I think it's a testament to the show promoters that have really kind of taken it to the next level. And people like Welch's Chop Shop that make a lot of those awards, and some of the custom painters as well. Here's the wild hair. It grows in the strangest places. So you could see on the windshield Bio Customs. Shout out to Max Fish. It's kind of a mouthful there. Very cool angle here. You can see again the doors. Look how awesome they are. The seats, super clean engine bay. Certainly a truck that deserved the cover. This one's probably etched in a lot of people's minds. A lot of people started reading Mini Truckin' around this era. So when I post features like this, people tend to go kind of crazy and say, yep, that's about the time I got in. You can see here again, Ultra Wheels and Bio Customs, a real cool photo here. Again, showing a little bit different angles. So they did a great job on this feature. I thought it was a real nice. And then you can see here Alex Anderson, rest in peace, a.k.a. Alex Who. It's crazy to look back at some of these features and, you know, the names that we know, but, you know, you maybe forgot that it was tied to a particular truck or a part that they made. You know, very sad that we lost Alex. It was great that West Coast Customs, Ryan and team did that great thing for Alex, and it was an honor to have him on. But there you go. If you like what we're doing here, leave a comment. Certainly appreciate it. You have the S10 that we saw recently on those Hancock wheels. Again, promoting the website. Okay, Resolutions 2000. If you look in the background here, that's why I think that this truck was shot at this location. Now, I don't believe it's in show coverage here, which is kind of, if it was shot here, it was kind of rare. Typically, the trucks would appear in the show coverage, but I think I've lined it up on other online show coverage that it was there. Here you can see Sideshow, a.k.a. Ahead of You, Shaun Dell. We've had Shaun on. This is a great photo. There's not a lot of, that I remember, there's not a lot of finished kind of interior photos of it. And there's one showing the seats and the dash and stuff. And remember, this truck went kind of head-to-head with Last Look, and you know, those stories have kind of been told on the podcast. So if you haven't, go back and check us out, our lifestyle podcast. Here is the Nissan. I actually just did a video of this truck yesterday. It was featured September 2000 in Street Trucks. Drawing a blank here. Corey Brown. Some of the stuff's just all running through my head right now, but amazing truck, platinum concepts you can see on the windshield. And then here's Adam's body dropped Lincoln Town Car. I have touched base with Adam, and I need to link up with him and have him on Lincoln Attic Podcast. Really could go also on OLP, but you know, talk Lincolns with him. The car is no longer in existence. Here's the cover truck we recently saw with the wheel stand cam C. And wagons were all the rage. I posted a wagon not too long ago and did like a swipe image or a little video on it. Couldn't believe how much love it got. Many of us look back at some of those cars that are kind of etched in our minds, and there's a lot of awesome builds that have been done over the years. That's why, it's another reason why I love doing these flip throughs, because we can kind of look back at some of the trends. Riding around, something a little bit different there with the Ranger. Bill Thompson, Equalizer. Car audio is another thing that's really just changed a lot over the years, technology-wise. A different drum. So this thing was crazy, and when I saw this, I was thinking Mike could do this on the Mazda. I know it's not a mod that you see often, but imagine if Mike did that on Banana Hammock, the truck. Split the bed, dude. I mean, I think the judges would have to give him a trophy, dude. This thing is crazy, though. All kidding aside, you can see a little bit of the info there. A Ford Motor Company product, I believe. P100. So something crazy. Right-hand drive, you can see down here. A different drum. Definitely different. Airbag Commandments Part 1. So these were always really good tech articles to, you know, talk about the craze that everybody was going through at that time, of course, was mini trucks. Dude, this truck is super awesome. When I see that photo, I almost think back like 10 years prior. Just the look of it and whatnot. But it was taken at the 3rd annual Mid-Summer Jam. There's another Ombre. Mazdog. Good times. Here you see a couple things. So Hot Shots VHS rental of the month. Here you see what's in the CD changer. Okay, this was kind of funny. Sasquatch. This was a story that we I don't think we've told, but when we had Ronnie on from Flat Out, I think he's got part of one of these jumpsuits. But if you ever went to Greenville, which remember this would have been September 2000, would have been those few months after Greenville, you would see some of these guys hanging around. And I think this was a joke. I don't think these were actually convicts. Maybe they were, but certainly there were some people in the orange suits there. For anybody that remembers. Here's Sketchpad. I know we don't spend a lot of time on that, but pretty cool to see the different creations and stuff. Here is Bob Grant's truck, Twisted Metal. So I get some of these titles mixed up. But here they talk about the 82 Toyota Hilux. And they mention that the truck had been in the accident. And I'm trying to see where he talked about redoing it. Somewhere in here, I want to say. After making its first appearance in the construction zone, Bob decided to wreck the truck, fix the truck, and cut the living hell out of it. So there you go. I am working on a video of this truck, I've said before, and now that we've hit monetization, maybe it'll kind of give me the motivation to want to finish it. But this truck has a storied history, and I actually have video of it literally from the next day after it was towed home when it was crushed. And you'll get a chance to, not crushed, but you know, in the accident, you'll get a chance to see why it's referred to as twisted metal. Dan Winchester's big dangler. This thing was nuts because remember the wheels kept pushing bigger and bigger and bigger, and you could see what he did with the fender here. No comment really. Obviously, just that in this era, Momo Extremes, people were pushing the limit with wheel sizes. So there you go. River Reflections, and ironically, this was the other thing I think I remember. River Reflections was one of the last shows for Twisted Metal. And you could see there, Twisted Metal. It was actually called that even before the accident, which is insane in the brain. But there was this, and then there was the show, Something by the Sea, that I've mentioned in the past, that I thought was maybe the last show. Someone would have to confirm, maybe Bob. And we will see. Gonna wrap this up here. No Civic. Again, you can see the background. This was shot in Tampa, the same place where Rob Septer's truck, or right in the same spot near it. Super clean. Wazza. You can see that photo right there that I talked about. That will be there a long time. Taken in Tampa at the fairgrounds. I'm so pissed off right now. This is kind of a cool article where he talks about getting tickets. That was always kind of a topic over the years of mini truckers receiving tickets. Here is the famed mini trucking graffiti. And I mentioned, there you go, MIC. I mentioned at the top, there were 3 cover trucks that had the Ultra wheels on them. So you basically, if I remember correctly, you had Todd Wilt's Ramster, which we just talked about. And then the Mazda Truxarossa was November 92. So those were the other 2 that had Ultra wheels. This was the 3rd and last out of 269 issues. Thank you guys for all the support. Stay on the rise. I'm going to go ahead and flash now. If you want to subscribe, please do so. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. If we get anything wrong, comment. Again, remember, this is a group effort. You got to keep mini trucking going. Stay on the rise. We at ya. Peace. Remember, look, there's no decals. Photoshopped out. Pretty cool. Looks good. Peace.